You're the only one who has what it will take to be that answer. Make no mistake, and I'll tell you now. You're here for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent. Maybe feeling like you're all alone, just a tiny pebble in a world full of stone. But I'll tell you now, you're here for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent. Deep down inside you, waiting to be free, is the power to save the world in need. But I'll tell you now, you're here for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent. Oh, 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 oh. Love is the reason you were born that day. Love is the answer, and its light show the way. 'Cause I'll tell you now, you're here for a reason. You're no accident. You're the answer to a problem. You were heaven sent.
Alrighty, it is time to get started with the show. So, give me just a moment to pull up what I need. Let's make sure I've got everything in stage and format. Lovely black screen. I know that's so great for y'all. We made a store run just slightly before this, so I'm a little off of my beaten path, so to speak. Need to go ahead and pull up everything, get it all settled. Sorry about that. Let's see. My YouTube channel. What was Drawing and Chilling, which is now what we have here. The Artful Audience. For those of you who are new or might be lurking, welcome to it. We draw together everything we create. And in fact, I have a brand new theme song that I have been working on for the show, which will debut next week. It's a unique, one-of-a-kind, original thing. All right, so just to pick back up where we left off, if we have the dragons in the background, little red guy there doesn't... Oh no! Did we lose our layers? That isn't cool. I would be very sad if we lost our layers. No, I pulled up the wrong thing, that's all. Whew, what a relief. When you lose your layers, you lose a lot of flexibility in how you can manipulate the drawing, so... It's like one of the worst things that can happen to an artist is losing access to the layers. Because you can't manipulate and move things around anymore. Alright, there we go. Now it's looking right. Now it's good. Now we're back to where we should be. Hooray! Ah, yes, and Ubi, bring in the food. Steak salad. Steak salad. Sweetness. With the best dressing ever. Oh, I forgot to pop out my chat, too. Hey, Wheelie! Good to see you! Glad you decided to join us once again. For, yes, we are working on this together. Now, just to explain to you how this happened. Hey, Timmy! Good to see you guys. Glad you're popping in for the show. Now, Wheelie, since this is your first time here, I'm just going to explain to you what's going on. We work on a drawing over a period of time. It can be weeks. Sometimes it takes months. But you and I and everybody in this chat come together and collaborate to create. So those dragons that you see in the background were not originally there. They were not even originally in my plan. But you guys suggested that I add them last week. And so here we have them, and look at what they've added to the scene. It's great stuff. My best work is never done alone. It is done with you guys. And so that's one of the reasons why I call it the Artful Audience, because you guys are part of the art actually taking shape. They wanted 2 dragons fighting in the background. So we have Dragon 1 over here, Mr. Purple Boy, Purple and Gold Boy. And then Red here, who does not yet have flames that he's blowing out, but we can add those. Sorry, you're listening to me chew. I know that's so entertaining. And we're still going to add scales to Mama eventually. But we felt like we needed something last week, so we added the moon. We added the dragons. And I use a digital tablet. I actually picked up an Intuos Pro for $50 on Facebook Marketplace. Best investment ever. I've had the thing about a year. It's not the fanciest model, but it's very effective. Software I use is Photoshop. There are times I'll switch into Illustrator, but for the most part it's Photoshop. Okay. Alright, so we're going to switch into the red dragon layer. We're going to give the red dragon some flames also. And one of the things I like to do is start with the colors, color gradients. Mix that out. And then I'll usually come back in with the smudge tool. What would you like to see? Where would you like us to put some fire? And you're right, we are talking dragons. Mama could be blowing some smoke or some fire in the direction of her eggs. She could be greeting her baby, which is the original thought process that I had. But like I said, this is our art, not mine. You and I are co-creators. So what gets created and how it gets created, that's up to y'all. We are working on the project together. Your suggestions are taken seriously in this space. And I am never offended if you don't like something or if you want to change something. That does not bother me in the least. Toward her baby to protect it? Okay. That's an interesting idea. Now I'm trying to think about how she would blow it without hurting the baby. But maybe that requires a little rethinking, because maybe her baby actually needs the fire to stay warm. I mean, these are dragons. You gotta think that they're probably pretty comfortable with fire. Oh, I should put it on Mama's layer. Mama gets her own layer. Are you thinking like that? Yes, Randy will be live tonight. He will be live after I finish streaming, Timothy. How is Timothy doing? How are things going, sir? Oh, maybe? Oh, you might die between now and then. Well, one would hope not. As I don't have life insurance on you yet, and it sure would be a bummer to miss out on that opportunity. Now that's, let me remove the white background so we can see what's actually going on. Put a little more red in there, maybe. Your heart's broken? Oh, so sorry. Well, Miss Linda can tell you all about that. She had a funeral for her daughter not long ago, so she knows all about the heartbreak. Very real thing. Our community's actually had quite a few deaths happen to it. Been in Columbus all day at appointments, 2 more this week and 3 next. Wow. Well, I hope the appointments are going well, Timothy. Timmy! Yeah, Timmy's been battling cancer. So we've got quite a few people who know just a little bit about what it's like to struggle with real things, real problems. So you're in good company here. And this is about as safe a community as you're going to find. Truly supportive of one another. Yeah, cancer is one of those things that I don't think anybody's a big fan of. Even cancer probably doesn't like itself too much. You know what I'm going to do? Just because it seems like the right move. I'm going to highlight that red dragon out there. Give him just a little bit of a... Not much, just a little bit. Just to help him stand out just a little bit more. I figure one of those out there is probably Daddy fighting off somebody who wants to come for the kiddos. That's better. Yeah, the orange by the moon is. I agree. Like I said, plenty of people in this community who understand what you're going through, Wheelie. Don't feel alone in it. Because you're not. All of us, in one way or another, have been battling through some hard stuff. But it is that hard stuff that we battle through that makes us stronger, more resilient, more compassionate people, if we let it. Obviously, there's a possibility that you can let it make you bitter, and then it doesn't make you better. It just makes you, well, bitter. But for the most part, I find that if you let it, stuff that could break you tends to make you stronger and more resilient. And more compassionate for those who also struggle. Oop. Putting paint on the girl instead of what I need to do. 2 years cancer-free in the neck and throat. Stomach cancer is trying to take you down. Yeah, you are a fighter, Timothy. I gotta say that. Oh, let me bump up the size of the smudge tool. If you have it too small, it becomes really hard to grab things and move the paint around. It doesn't do as good a job. Now we're going to put some scales on Mom. One of the cool things that I found to do when we're doing scales. Oh. No, it's not overkill. It's our painting. We get to decide what we want to do. You guys, which one do you want? Which one do you make? And which egg should we also make hatching? Cracking, or at least. Pick the one you prefer.
Pray for me.
All right.
I'm about to try to tune the guitar with my finger.
Uh-oh. Okay, that's a scale. I'm going to outline it. I'm going to fill it with gold. Then we're going to create the texturing. The green one or the blue one? Okay. Which one do you think, Wheelie? The blue. Okay. Well, we've got 2 for blue. So the blue one is going to get it. We will have that coming up shortly. I'm going to create this scale here. So that when we're ready to add scales to Mama, we've got it ready to go. I find that if you put the scales on their own layer, it takes us a little longer to do it this way, but it looks more realistic and fundamentally cool. And I'll show you. All right, now some attention to the blue, which means I gotta come in here to our eggs. And pick out the one. There's our blue. We're gonna label it. Wheelie, you can draw. I promise you, sweetheart. If you wanted to draw, you can. What it's going to take is you being willing to fail a whole lot of times before you ever succeed in getting things done the way you want them to look. That is the fundamental difference between somebody who draws regularly, is that they were willing to fail more times than you. It's not that they're better than you. It's not that they're more gifted than you. There's nothing special about being able to draw. Because really, it's a set of skills. And you can develop those skills. I promise. You have it in you. It's, are you willing to fail? Often enough to develop the skills required. And coming to streams like this and then watching what I do and seeing if you can duplicate it, seeing if you can do something similar to what I did, is also a good way to practice and hone those skills. I actually wrote a book called I Wish I Could Draw Like That. Precisely because I encounter people like you all the time who will look at what I do and they're, oh, I wish I could draw like that. I'm like, you can. You can, in fact, learn to draw like that. You are capable. But are you willing to put in the hours of work that it takes? That's the question. When you're first starting, Wheelie, the trick to really becoming good at art is to learn to train your brain to draw only what exists. Not what you think is there, but what is actually in front of your eyeballs. Because, and this is a really cool thing, your brain is lazy, and there's nothing wrong with that. All our brains are lazy. We like shortcuts. We like stick figures because they're easy. But stick figures are a shortcut to drawing actual people. there's a lot of stick figures that get used when you're first drawing out where you want to position your work on the page. So they're a first step forward. You just have to take the next step and add the bubbles and things like that that make the form come together. Let's see if we can't get this worked in where it looks more natural, like it is cracking. And if you want to, I do have earlier works that I did on this channel where I did a figure drawing of an angel humanoid figure. And so if you go back and you watch that, you're going to see some of the techniques and strategies that I used to get that figure down and make it come to life. And then you can try to follow along. And really, honestly, that's something I recommend is go watch videos where artists are doing things and try to do it yourself. Try to duplicate what you see them doing on screen. Some of them it's not going to be easy because some of them jump too much from start to finish. But see if you can't figure out what they're doing, deconstruct it, and try to duplicate it. You'll learn a lot that way. Really, all art comes down to shapes, basic shapes. What's the shape of a thing? Is it round? Is it square? Is it a rectangle? Once you figure that stuff out, you're most of the way home. And then it's just about adding shading and stuff like that to make it look more realistic. There we go. Now she looks like it. Now it's starting to look like cracks. Is that more along the lines of what you guys had in mind? Or do you need more cracks in there? If you could draw with your books, yeah, it would be. Now, I will tell you, I tried when I was first learning art, I was trying to learn from books, but a lot of times what's happening is that the artist takes for granted certain steps that they instinctively know to do. And they don't show those on the page. And so you end up having them jump from one point to a point you can't follow. There we go. Good to see you, Malachi. Glad you stopped and joined us. We were just discussing the techniques for growing our art skills. Yeah, you know, you guys are right. That added a lot to it. See, this is why I like creating with you guys. You're full of good ideas. And you're only serving to make the art better and more layered and nuanced than it would be if it were just me working on it. So now I'm going to start taking the scales for Mama and we're going to start filling in those gaps. Turn it just a little bit. You write adult books? Well, adult books can use pictures too. Depends on the type of adult book we're writing. as to what kind of pictures. Sometimes I think stick figures are entirely appropriate for adult books. I know that's bad. Take a bite of my salad for a moment, so. Well, actually, I was thinking, Wheelie, that is what's going on outside, is that the battle between Daddy protecting Mama and the babies. But if you have an idea for how to make that idea clearer, I'm all ears. You finally finished your painting process, now you have to buff and polish the whole thing? Yep, those finishing touches, they make all the difference, Malachi.
That's not
What happened?
apparently the strings I ordered are slightly heavier gauge, and I'm gonna need another spring.
Oh.
I can't use that guitar tonight.
No. That's a pity. Whose claws? Really, which claws? You want Mama's claws or Daddy's claws? And I guess that means we get to decide which one is Daddy. Who's your daddy? All right, there. We had to go there. We just did. That is good that you have patience, Malachi. Thank you. I will say it is only as pretty as it is because you guys contributed to making it so. You're hoping you can win the guitar you're doing? That would be. Oh, Wheelie, I had to learn patience. You know how God helps you learn patience? Because, trust me, I didn't have it when I was younger. At all. Period. Um, God helps you learn patience by making you wait for what you want. A long, long, painful, long time. Of course, in all the middle of that waiting, you're growing. Growing into the person who can handle whatever it is you were praying to get. Alright. Now, we do need to do something here to make these scales look right. And what that something is I've got to cut the space for the horn out of that. So, we're going to come back over here. I'm going to turn off that layer for a moment. If I can find it. Yeah, there we go. We're going to turn off that layer for a moment. I'm going to come back here to the horn. Where Mama's horn is. Ha ha ha. Pick my lasso tool. There we go. I'm going to trace around her horn here. The tip of it. And come back up here to where that was. Select it and cut out the space where the horn was. There we go. That makes it look like it's sitting underneath there. You have a birth defect, so you have over 30 operations. Throwing you into the fire to teach you patience. Honey, we are all works in progress. All of us. Trust me, I am nowhere near arrived. Well, when you don't have a mama there to do it for you, I guess, Malachi. Like I said, this is a little more tedious. Yeah, my son, it was funny. Um, he is Johnny Edward Miller II is his formal name, but we usually called him Eddie, unless he was in trouble. And then it became Edward, Johnny Edward Miller, Johnny Edward Miller II. You know, by the time he got to that point, he was really in trouble. And he knew it. So one day, he's at the doctor's office, and the doctor calls him by his formal name, Johnny Edward Miller II. He looks at that doctor, he narrows his eyes, and he says, "Don't call me that. I'm not in trouble." Poor kid. Now he calls himself Johnny, but, you know. There was a day. It's mostly to avoid confusion by other people, but still. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Okay, that's what I'm doing wrong. Taking it off the wrong layer. Yep, that's what we need. Surgeries? Wow. Yep, Malachi broke his neck at one point and has had to rebuild his life. We have all been through things. So, I say that to say we understand. And whatever you're going through, just know that we're with you. Not in the we judge you kind of way, but in the we're here for you kind of way. Trust me when I tell you I got no room to judge anybody. Not for anything. A pedal board is, hey, no worries, Brian. A pedal board is something you use to adjust a guitar. Brian could explain it actually better than I can. He runs a channel dedicated to reviews and guitar equipment. Awesome guy. Built some of the most awesome community on this YouTube planet. In fact, almost everybody in here is in some way connected to Brian's channel. We would not know each other without him. Wheelie is both an author and an appreciator of art. And because she showed up to our live stream, she is now becoming an artist. Ha ha ha. Embraced into the fold, whether she likes it or not. These scales are looking pretty slick, if I do say so myself. And I guess I just did, so haha, there you go. Indeed, you will. Being around here, you're going to pick it up. You'll learn a lot about art a little at a time. And like I said, one of the best ways to learn is to try. Try to see if you can't duplicate anything that you see, that small thing or a big thing, whatever you see that you think, maybe I could do that, just try it. You can't fail wrong. You know, you can't fail in art. You can only learn something. So don't be afraid, as my husband puts it, to embrace the suck. The suck is that place where you're not good yet. You want to be, but you're not where you want to be. Or you want to be good, but you're not where you want to be yet. Just more to the point. And don't be afraid to embrace that space, because that's the space you have to go through to get to the point where you are good. Now you're annoying me. Scale. The scale is annoying me, not you guys. He was hiding. It was attempting to confuse me, but it did not succeed. I have conquered you. There we go. And yeah. Those eggs are really simple to do, okay? It's just a straight oval that I colored in. And then you see how I did that scale for Mama? It's covered in scales just like that. That's all it is. And then on the outside edges, I gave it a slight gradient. You don't fail at everything, Timothy. I have heard you play guitar. It is not true. You play guitar pretty well. And you haven't failed at life. You're still alive, so you do not fail at everything. You have managed to succeed at quite a few things. I know you have grandkids, so you have successfully parented children. That is a huge accomplishment in and of itself. See, grandchildren are the reward we get for not killing our kids when they're young and drive us crazy. The temptation is there. Especially when you're out there getting a 3 a.m. phone call from the police on Father's Day, letting you know that your son has managed to get himself into trouble. But you love him. I'm ruining it. Well, you know, that's me embracing the suck. I'm good at ruining things sometimes. Ruining people's fun. You know, that's me. There are moments I do feel like I ruin everything. Yes. Exactly, Wheelie. Exactly. If you are making any kind of progress at all, you are not failing. The only time that you get to declare yourself a failure is when you give up trying. I don't care how many times you fall down in trying something. I don't care how many times you don't get the result you wanted or expected. If you are out there continuing to try, you are not a failure. You are a success. See, every failure teaches you something. Every failure helps you learn a new part of what you need to know in order to succeed. So as long as you're continuing to try, you are a success. You may not succeed in what you wanted to. You may not have that part down yet. But you are a success. Yeah, the eye will be colored. It did have color earlier. I don't know. Maybe I lost it. But, yeah. We're gonna get in there. Pardon me, my, allergies are slightly acting up, so they're deciding to misbehave on me today. Just in time for me to go to a writing conference in Portland, Oregon and speak. Because, yeah, everybody wants to hear me clearing my throat 30 times in a minute. Kaplump. I heard something kaplump back there. Better not be my husband kerplumping. That would be distressing. Video coming, Brian, at the board. Yep, you fail 10,000 times to get up 10,001. You know, this is the funny thing. As we get older in life, you know, we get impatient with ourselves for failing. But not one of us were born walking. In fact, if you watch a baby learning to walk, they fall constantly. Like, they'll take, they'll stand up and fall, they'll stand up and fall, they'll stand up and fall like 1,000 times. until the point where they get to where they can hold their balance. And then they take that first step and fall, and take that first step and fall, and take that first step and fall. And they do that over and over and over again until they can take that first step and stand. And then the next step is they take 2 steps. And we don't get impatient with babies. We just accept, okay, this is a tough gig. They're learning. They're going to get it. We just got to give them time and patience. And we accept that they're going to fail. But when it comes to the older we get, the less accepting we are of the learning curve that it takes to learn, to grow, to become something new. The more we get impatient with each other, we want quick results, and that's not how things work. Not at all. Like I said, I know that this stage of the artistry is tedious to do and tedious to watch, but you notice how it adds just that 3D layer to it. It just gives it a more realistic feel than it would have otherwise. And so I don't like to skip this part, even though it's tedious. Yep, that's the attitude, Malachi. I refuse to quit until I conquer. I refuse to be conquered by things. You know, that is actually why I ended up taking calculus in high school. I did not at the time love math by any stretch of anybody's imagination. I was not your math lover. In fact, couldn't stand math. But I was not going to be conquered by math. I was not going to let math beat me. So I decided to take calculus. And I barely passed, but I did pass. And then, years later, because I only barely passed, and that didn't sit well with me, I went back and took it as an adult. And that's when things changed for good for me. Because that math teacher, God bless him, I wish I knew his name. I wish I could go back and thank him. Because what he said at the very beginning of the class is that math is about relationships. And that changed my perspective completely on math and what it was. And it helped me to put math in a framework that allowed me to better grasp what was really happening. And I realized that math is nothing more than a set of super condensed stories that are universally true about relationships. And after that, math wasn't a problem so much anymore. I still make careless errors sometimes when I'm not being careful. Well, that's what careless error is. You're not being careful. When I'm not paying close enough attention to the story that the equation is telling. But it did help me understand better what was going on. So much red. Yeah, I think you're right, Wheelie. I think it needs to have more variation to it. Maybe more orange in it. We'll see. We'll see when we get back to the eye. What we need to add to make it really stand out. There we go. Almost all good and scaly now. Now we gotta do the rest of her body. I have no idea, Malachi. Didn't know any comment had been deleted. Okay, let's go back to the original. Because we're going to add more scales to the body. That's a good idea. The amber contrast might very well set it apart. I was a little bit worried about making it too close to the gold color, that it would not stand out, but you may be right. That may be what we need to do. Or we might need to make it a different color. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, bye, Wheelie. Thanks for stopping in. It's okay. We're going to be here about 15 minutes more, and then we'll be calling it to a close. Because Ubi's stream is coming up soon. We don't want to miss that show. I mean, heck, not too many places on the internet where you can get your balls out without getting yelled out. Yeah. No worries. I'll see you around, Malachi. Have a good evening. Blah. The challenging part is making the scales flow along the lines that her muscles would flow so that they look natural and normal and like they belong where they're at. Not forced or imposed. Pardon me. Don't mean to be coughing in y'all's ears. Said I don't know what it's gotten into me. I was doing fine earlier. Now all of a sudden it's decided it wants to start. May just be the sing-song back and forth of the weather. There we go. Das ist better. He'll need me to go get me some water. Oh, he didn't pay attention to the show starting right about now. He's busy practicing. Which is understandable because he's got his live here coming up. And he does not want to disappoint. That was not what I expected. I was not looking for that. Well, I don't know if he made the community because I think Brian made it, but Doobie definitely adds to it and definitely adds to his own. But you guys make the community awesome. You guys are absolutely part of what makes this community what it is. Every single one of you. And I am just honored to be along for the ride. Yeah. Look at Mama! She's coming alive. Careful, she'll be blowing a fire at you pretty soon. I do like the way that her inner scales look almost emerald. With the way they glow, they have that inner glow. But yeah, we're going to call that part a stream. And we are going to save that. And I want you guys, if you got anything chill, if you've got anything coming up, let me know in chat. otherwise, I will see you hopefully in Ubi's stream here in about 15 minutes. So catch yourself a break. Go get yourself something to drink. Thank you guys for showing up, for participating, for being part of the work we're doing. I love you all, and I'll catch you next week.